Everybody, and welcome to another video. And in today's video we are doing something a little different. This is not BLOXFRUITS, although it is. It's a tier list. Okay, we're making a tier list. I saw that Zeolus made a tier list and I was like, oh, well, I don't like his tier list, so I'm gonna make my own because I don't play on PC. This will be a perfect BLOXFRUITS mobile tier list. As you know, I've used every fruit. I've been playing the game for 2 years. I have every gun, every sword mastered up, and I've tried a lot of everything recently. So I think I am best for this task to make a mobile tier list, because I've been playing for so long that I can see the good in all the fruits, and even the bad in some of the ones people think are good. So, first of all, let me explain how these tiers are gonna work. Best means only the best in its category. What I will deduce as my personal best thing in each category, depending on what it is. So there's only one for each category, like gun. There's gun, sword, and BLOXFRUITS, and fighting style. I'm doing an accessory tier list later because there are so many accessories in BLOXFRUITS. There's 47, and adding 47 things to this already massive tier list would be wild. But here it is, the tier list. So first of all, best. I think we can all agree that anybody who uses guns uses it for stun. Now, if you are a gun main, you aren't playing on mobile. And this is a mobile tier list, so although a Citium rifle would usually be the candidate in this category, this is a mobile tier list. So the best thing you have a gun for is stun. And next up, we have S tier. S tier will go to the Kabucha, of course, because the Kabucha is solid stun gun, okay? And then next up, we have the Citium rifle, which again is a really good gun. It's not effective to main on mobile, and if you're not maining it, it's not that good, but its stun is okay, and that's fine. So next up, I'll just go ahead and do the worst. The worst is obviously the slingshot. And above that, in the absolutely just like dead, like why are you using this gun category, we have flintlock, rifle, or musket, or whatever it's called. No, it's not rifle, it is musket. And then cannon. And let me explain why. The reason those are in that category is because they all have better versions of themselves. So why would I put them in their own category? Now here in A tier, I'll go ahead and put Bizarre Rifle, because it has a homing weapon thing. Now, other than that, it's not really good, but because of that homing attack, it can easily break instinct to enemies who are moving around pretty crazy. So I call that a good gun. Next up, in C tier, we have these two guns right here, because they don't really do anything for you in PvP. And then of course in B tier we have the musket, only because it makes a tornado. And last but not least, these two guns right here. Obviously this legendary gun is going up here with Bizarre Rifle. It has good poison damage, but not as good as a Citium rifle, which is why it's under there. And as far as this gun goes, I'll put it in B tier because it is way better damage-wise than most guns, but again, you don't gun main on mobile, so if you want to use it for damage, you better be in V4. Next up are the swords. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and pick the best sword. We all know which one that is, and that is the TTK. Now, that one is a little bit more biased, because swords are a little different, but for me personally, the TTK just works so well with mobile, it's impossible to not put it at the top. So it is my all-time favorite sword, best sword ever. And as far as worst goes, we all know what goes here. The cutlass. Now, why the cutlass and not the katana? Well, because who starts out BLOXFRUITS, looks at a cutlass and a katana and says, oh, I want the cutlass? I'm gonna tell you, it's only an absolute buffoon. Now, if you started with cutlass, no offense to you, but you're wrong, okay? You picked the worst option. Next up, we're gonna rank the mythical ones, okay? Okay, CDK. Obviously S tier. I personally don't like it, but it is really good regardless, and I can do some damage with it, just isn't my style. And also, since that's an S tier, I'm also going to have to put this one in S tier, which is for one of my better builds, and I do personally believe it belongs in S tier. I know a lot of people might disagree with that, but if you've ever used it properly, you'd know it is overpowered. And of course, last but not least, this freak that doesn't even break instinct is going in A tier, but only because it does really high damage. It's hard to hit though, and that's why its cousin right here is going into S tier, because while it also doesn't break instinct, its AoE is crazy, and so it is actually easy to hit. So it's up here with these good swords. Now, I've never used it, but I know how the other one works, and I know they do the same damage, and I've seen the AoE on it, so I know exactly how it works, even if I've never used it. And just imagining it, it seems really good. Next up, in awful tier, first of all, I'm putting Yama. And no, don't delete it. And you might be thinking, this dude's crazy, I might click off this video, but wait, don't click off the video yet. Let me tell you why Yama goes into that tier. It is only directly because Cavender goes S tier. Best mobility sword. I literally tested it earlier today. It makes you go further, and anybody who uses Yama uses it for mobility, which makes Yama a lesser Cavender. They both have an ability that's a short, like a, not short, but like a kind of long dash, and then they have another ability that is a dash that kind of floats them through the air and then shoots an attack. They both have that. Cavender just does more damage and also goes further. So Yama is a worse Cavender, and you cannot prove me wrong because I'm right. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and just put all the S tiers in S tier. As a sword man, I'm a little biased, but where is it at? Rengoku, S tier. Coco, S tier. This thing is actually A tier, but it's really good too. Now, this sword, I'm sorry for all you guys who like skill and stuff. It's S tier, only because it is the absolute best at being a no-skilled sword. Next up, but not least, the saber. Might not do much damage, but it does to sea beasts, and it's the best at what it does, which is kill sea beasts. So it is S tier as well. Next up, I'm gonna just go ahead and put the rest of my favorite swords, and they are all probably gonna be about A tier. Well, nah, Gravity Cane's S tier actually. This one's A tier. Good stun, awful, just usage. This one is also A tier. A tier. This is mobile, by the way, not PC. If it was on PC, that one would be ranked higher. This is S tier for its good stun ability. This is A tier. A tier. Oh, what did I move? What did I move? No, you don't go up there. You don't go up there. No, you don't go there either. A tier. And then this, B tier. Actually, yeah, B tier. This is actually C tier. This will also be C tier. Shishui goes to the absolutely garbage category because it is literally just a lesser Coco. It is. It doesn't even get buffed by any fruits like Coco. And then we have this one, A tier. Blinds your opponent, really good. B tier. Okay, a lot of these are gonna be C tier because that's a C tier. That's a C tier. Actually, that's a lesser version of its version 2. So that's also crap. Katana, absolute S tier. I'm joking. It's the worst sword in the game. We have to put it there. C tier. All these other ones are decent. C tiers. Not good. No good. No good. Not good. This one actually goes into A tier. If you're doing a skilled combo, you know that is an essential to make yourself look really cool. In this one, where did I just move that? No, you're not the worst. What? This one goes in A tier because it's also really good. It's kind of like if you've ever used T-Rex, it's like the sword version of that. It's pretty cool. And these two, Sadi used to be original, and I would have put it higher for being original, but it actually just feels like every other sword, but kind of not as good as some of them, so I'm actually going to put it in C tier. I don't know why I accidentally put it in the other one. And that one's also C tier. Okay, we got all the swords listed. If you agree or disagree, you can comment down below where you think they should move to. If I go back to them and look, I might agree with you, might change it in a future video. Like after y'all comment enough, might make like a redeeming video. But anyways, fighting styles. First of all, we're going to go ahead and get the worst one out of the way. And that is combat. Combat is right there, and that, I mean, it's combat. I mean, I really don't have to like explain that. Next thing up, we're gonna do the best one. Best one is obviously Death Step, and if you don't know why it's Death Step, let me explain. So on mobile, I've used all the fighting styles numerous times. I even grinded alt account with combat to the like near max level, PvP'd a little bit, and yeah, bad. But Death Step is the only fighting style I've ever been able to use where I don't have to use anything else. With Cyborg's V3 and Death Step combined, you can solo in PvP. You don't need a sword, gun, or even a BLOXFRUITS. You just need Death Step. And yes, it doesn't pair well with anything else, but the fact that it solos just makes it absolutely unarguably the best. It is. I don't care what anybody else says, Death Step is the best fighting style, and it's also really fun to use. So yeah. Next up, obviously the goats of fighting styles. Sanguinar S tier, Godhuman S tier, Dragon Talon. It doesn't have as much combo potential, but it really does if you use it right, and it does the most damage, so I also have to put that in S tier. Obviously, Electric Claw is A tier. I wish it could be lower because I hate that fighting style. I don't like using it, and I hate it when people use it. But sadly, no, it belongs there. This is also A tier. Superhuman. I'm sorry, but unlike most fighting styles that are like the lower versions, Superhuman is a direct weaker version of Godhuman. It's like the same moves, they just do less damage and go less far. So obviously Superhuman is awful tier. Nobody should ever have any reason to use that unless they're like grinding up to Godhuman. Dark Step, C tier. It's original, but it's not good. Electric, also really bad, but it's not just a weaker version of Electric Claw. This one also not just a weaker version, unless I'm mistaken. I haven't actually used Fishman Karate in a while. So if I am incorrect, then it is just a weaker version, although if I remember correctly, it is not the same. And then, of course, Dragon thing, it is similar, but still not the same, if I remember correctly. So those are all C tiers. I don't think there's any B tier fighting styles. I mean, people might treat you like a B tier if you use Electric Claw, but yeah, whatever. Next up, best fruit for mobile. Best fruit. Ooh, this is a tricky one, though. This is a tricky one. Okay, we'll start with worst fruit. Worst fruit for mobile. Which one is it? We all know I hate Falcon. Falcon only has 3 attacks, and they all suck. So, obviously, Falcon is the worst one. You have to transform just to use those crappy attacks. Awful. Now, let's see if we can find which one's the best. Now, I know which one's my favorite, but I'm thinking objectively for mobile, which one's the best fruit. Because it's not Kitsune. Kitsune is not good on mobile. Even Leopard is not as good on mobile to the point where it kind of sucks. I wouldn't put any Zoan type fruit in or Beast type. not One Piece for legal reasons. But yeah, let me keep looking. Let me just go on these for a little bit. Well, first of all, I think I know. It's Spirit. Spirit does high damage. Spirit's just the GOAT right there. It belongs there. Oh, that's not best. That's S. Okay. Now that we have the best one and the worst one, let's build our way up. Okay. Out of the worst few BLOXFRUITS, This might seem a little odd because not everyone's played the game as much as me, but firstly, we're gonna have to put Spike. You can do about everything you can do with Spike with Doe, but better. And Spike is pretty bad. I don't know why it's so similar to Doe. It's weird. Next up in S tier, we're gonna put Chop. Makes you immune to swords. That instantly makes an immunity as an S tier. Because if it gives you any kind of immunity, like full immunity, it's obviously S tier. Next up, Rubber, also S tier, because it does super high damage. Like, ironically, even though it's like really hard to use, even on mobile, it makes you immune to any guns. So if you're fighting a gun main, they're most likely also using Rumble or Ice. But on the off chance that they're using a 50% chance they're using Rumble, they are not going to be able to touch you with their fruit or their gun, and you'll just win. You can just walk right up to them and punch them in the face. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and put this at A tier because it gives you 25% defense, and sword manning on mobile is actually really effective. Next up, my favorite fruit, S tier. Obviously, Ice is overpowered, and I've fought with it so many times. If you touch the ground and you're fighting a competent Ice user, you are dead, mobile or PC. If they know a combo, you are dead once you touch the ground, okay? If you're fighting an Ice user, stay in the air as much as possible, because if they catch you on the ground, you are dead. Next, go ahead and put Light on S tier, fastest flight in the game. Revive, also S tier. Its moves are now really good. Oh wait, that's Ghost now. Oops. Its moves are really good, and it gives you good the revive. You revive once. Buddha, S tier, no explanation. It helps with raids so much. Also Portal, the two essentials when it comes to perms. If you're getting any two perms, get Buddha and Portal. They are like essentials. And also, next up, I'm going to go ahead and do Control. Control is probably the funnest fruit in BLOXFRUITS, but as you can see, we're scrolling down because PvP-wise, it's not a C tier. It's a B tier fruit. It's B tier. Now, is it good? Yes. But if you're fighting a person who's a sweat, you're never going to touch them. If you're fighting someone who's a shark, you're never going to damage them. Because the cooldowns are pretty long. Levitate is almost impossible to hit. And, I mean, it's awful. But it's fun. I love it. I love using Control. I'm about to make a video on it. That's coming up. Obviously, Kitsune lets people ride you and you can go on water. S tier. I'm also going to put Leopard at B tier because it's not that bad, but compared to PC, it sucks. Dragon, A tier. I don't like Dragon, it's not my playstyle, but it's super effective. Actually, Dragon, S tier. It is probably the best ranged fruit, honestly, for mobile. Even though I don't like it, I'm going to go ahead and put it up there. Gravity. Let's see, what did I put in here? Control and Leopard. I'm gonna go ahead and just put these in C tier, and this is for mobile, would be in B tier. Not bad, but not very good. B is kinda, I'd say that this down here is for mid fruits, like Mammoth. Mammoth is so mid. Gravity is beyond mid in my opinion, so because I've used it a lot and it was really good. Let's go there. Why is it the worst at what it does? Because it is the worst ranged fruit in the game. It has the most range, but if you see them starting to shoot at you, the bullets move so slow, it's like just move out of the way. It is so dumb. Next up, we're going to go ahead and do another S tier, I think. Is there another S tier to do? I don't know. Because it has to be best at what it does to be S tier. Which, gun immunity, sword immunity, you know, best at what they do. I'm going to go ahead, put Bomb at S tier. Out of all the commons, it is the best common. And it does the most damage. It's just that guy. A tier, obviously we can put Spring. Its mobility is really decent, and also For B tier, we'll put Rocket. Now, is Rocket as good as like Gravity? No. But if you're a sword main, those two mobility abilities are actually so effective because people don't expect them ever. Because the one just launches you in the air and the other one like launches you up and then like shoots you anywhere you want to go, but they never know where you're gonna land. So it's so like it's so unexpected. But so is Spring, and Spring is just better at it. Next up, C tier, obviously that and that. I've used both of those for bounty hunting. They're okay, but they're not good. They're commons. What do you expect? Another A tier, we have Flame. Flame is good. Sand, another C tier. Flame is probably the worst at some of the stuff it does. Dark is obviously a B tier. Barrier. That's a tricky one because most people don't use it for bounty, like PvP in any kind of main, because it just doesn't really do anything good. It's not good for grinding. You know, it might actually be one of the worst fruits in the game, but it's kind of fun to mess around with all the like things that it shoots out that like people can interact with, which it's the only one that can do that. So on one hand, it's the best at making interactable platforms, but on the other hand, it's not really effective at anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a C tier. It has its own unique thing, but it's definitely not an S tier. Magma, obviously an S tier. If you're killing Sea Beast, it is your go-to thing. Wait, why is Falcon here? Wait, what? Did I not put Falcon in the worst category? I thought I already did that. Oops. Sound. I'm sorry, but the reason it's in that box is because sound. Okay, one of the moves is great. One of them is okay. Some of them decent. There's one good move, like 2 decent moves. No. Yeah, 2 decent moves, the flight and the other one. But the 2 moves I'm worried about is the Rhapsody notes, which makes it to where you can shoot 3 of them, but it never works out on mobile because you just... I tested it with my friend, and going as fast as I could shoot 3 of them in like 3.5 seconds. He could shoot 3 of them in 1 second. So I'm gonna just say that if you're on mobile, sound does not work out, and then the biggest, strongest move does a lot of damage, but people can just dodge around it sometimes and just go right up to your character and combo you. So it's also self-sacrificial. So sound is an awful fruit. Next up, Phoenix. Phoenix, if you're getting another perm other than some of these essentials, like maybe you wanted like whatever you wanted, fastest flight, whatever, like light or something, like Phoenix heals your buddies. It's the only one that does that. In fact, now that I remember, I almost forgot about Sound's only useful thing, and that's that it actually gives a speed and defense buff to your friends. So it's actually C tier because it does give a buff to your friends. It's not really effective for you because if you're in combat, you can't really activate it easily. But if your friend's in combat, you can help them out. Quake. B tier. I've seen some killer Quake combos, but not common on mobile. Also on here is Love. A tier is obviously Spider, Rumble, and Doe. That's not Rumble, that's Blizzard. Although Blizzard also goes in this category. Venom goes in B tier because it has like barely any combo potential unless you're like spamming or something. Like you can combo the aura with like a move that like attaches onto somebody or pulls them to you. But other than that, the aura is useless, and then it's 2 ranged abilities. Like, where's the combo potential? But then if you transform, it's like really good, so that's why it's in B tier. Next up, Shadow is way better than Venom, so I have to put it in A tier. And yeah, that is my entire BLOXFRUITS tier list. Let's go over it. We have Best, we have S, we have A, we have B, we have C, we have just don't use these things. That's what this tier is called. And then we have Worst. Now that you've seen the whole tier list, we're coming up on 25 minutes, so I'll go ahead and remind you, comment down below if you want to see an accessories tier list, which will take a lot more time because I don't know barely anything about accessories, unlike everything else in the game that I know a lot about. I actually have to go to the wiki and analyze all the accessories and think of them in combative experience, because there's no way I'm gonna spend like a week going through like all of the accessories and seeing which of them enhance my PvP the most, and then I could be fighting like worse or better players, so it's like dependent on who I'm fighting whether they're effective or not. So really I just have to look at the stats, and that's gonna take a while because I can't do that on my phone while I'm doing the tier list. So I'm gonna have to get my computer and get it charged, and yeah, I only have one charger. So yeah, if y'all want to see that, comment down below and I will do it, but it will take a while to make, unlike this one, which I just had to download a tier list app, download every single individual image of all these items, which I'm gonna have to do for accessories too for that one. And I mean, it took a little bit to make, but I mean, the preparation was at most 20 minutes of me trying to figure out how to get a good tier list started, and then the rest of it was me doing these 25 minutes of me doing the tier list. So I mean, it only took like about 45 minutes altogether so far, and I mean, I hope y'all enjoy it. This is my mobile tier list, and with that being said, go ahead and subscribe, like it, definitely like if you want to save this, because liking things is usually what I do to save the video. I understand if you don't want to click the like button, because then it's going to be in your liked videos playlist. I don't really like many videos either, but I will subscribe. Always do that. Support any people. I don't care who they are. I don't care what they are. They get a subscription from me, because that just supports everybody. Throwing support everywhere, you know, just helping everyone out, making everyone's day better. With that being said, that's really all this video is this tier list. So goodbye.